What's up brothers, this is OuweSok with another Battle Brothers video, and in this video I want to be discussing with you the Davkul Cultists origin. I just played that. I'm in day 400 and something, and I really enjoyed this origin. So I want to be discussing with you the things that I learned while playing this, and giving you some tips on how you should approach this origin if you haven't played it yet. So the first thing that you would know, that if you play Davkul Cultists, you are in for a long game. If you are the type of guy who wants to speedrun, then this might not be the origin for you, because you are leveling up cultists until you have a prophet, and that's when you really start feeling the power of the cultists, Davkul Cultist origin. And getting the prophet, that will take quite some time. I got mine at day 180, for example. And also, you will be in for a pretty slow start. You will be hiring cultists in the early game. Cultists are pretty bad fighters, so you will have to be a little modest with choosing your contracts and your fights until you have managed to recruit and convert some better brothers. So it will be a long game. The next thing that I would strongly recommend is to use the cultist event fix mod, which is a modified module to improve and increase cultist events. You will have sacrifice and convert events, and with the mod the frequency of these events will increase. And also, when you have a sacrifice event, your cultists will level up. And with the mod, all your cultists will level up instead of half of the cultists, which is the out of the box behavior. Also, the specific armor and helmet, the aspect of Davkul and the glimpse of Davkul, will come much earlier when you use this mod. So find this mod. You can find it on Nexus Mods website. You can simply Google for it and get it installed, because it will really help your gameplay. And you will get to let's say the end game much easier. So when you play this origin, how would you approach the early game? Well, there's two things that you need to be doing early game. One is you have to find a prophet. You have to find a brother that's going to be the prophet, and you want to find them ASAP. The actual best thing that you can do is find a seed in which one of your starting brothers can be the prophet, so that you don't have to specifically search for him and lose time. So what makes a good prophet? You can see mine here. The most important stat for a prophet is fatigue. As much as you can get. My prophet now is level 19 and he has 140 fatigue. And he's got iron lungs. Iron lungs is cool. It's not necessary. If you find a good brother with a bunch of stars and fatigue, and you can get him up to 150 or 160, that would be totally perfect as well. But iron lungs is a nice bonus. The second most important stat for the prophet is resolve. In a usual game, normal game, you would find and build a banner. In this game, the banner and the prophet will be one. You don't want to have two brothers that aren't really doing the fighting. So you want to combine prophet and banner. So my banner got up to 121 with the sash and the bonus from Fortified Mind. It's not as much as you would have in a normal game, but in the Davkul Cultists, the banner is not that important, because the first two levels will add +10 to resolve for all of your cultists, and also you will get a lot less morale checks, negative morale checks. So you don't need a banner with that much resolve as you would have in a normal game. The third aspect of the prophet is melee attack, so that you can contribute a little bit to the fighting for as long as the prophet isn't the prophet. So in the early game, the first 80, 100, 200 days when your prophet is still leveling up, He cannot contribute by being a prophet and having the voice of Davkul. This ability, you will get very late. When he becomes a prophet, you will get this ability which costs 35 fatigue and instantly removes fatigue by 10 for all of your other cultists. This is a game-changing ability, and you will tailor your team to abuse this ability, which we will discuss a little bit later. But as long as the prophet isn't the prophet, you want maybe to do some fighting, so that's why the third most important skill would be melee skill, so that he can sometimes sting with his battle standard. How would you develop your prophet? Well, this is mine. Let's go through the perks. So recover is mandatory 100%. You will be casting Voice of Davkul every turn, and if you cannot because you're out of fatigue, then you will recover. You will always get gifted for the extra stats, more resolve, more fatigue. You will get fortified mind and rally the troops as banner stats. You will always get Colossus for the extra hit points. Nimble is the perfect defensive stat, protective stat for the prophet, because you don't want to carry heavy armor, and that costs fatigue. You want to have as much fatigue as possible, so nimble is perfect. Pathfinder is also pretty good, as it allows you to move and spending less fatigue. And then there's like 2 or 3 leftover perks. I've used quick hands and bags and belts, so that he can carry throwing nets, or maybe bombs, or the bandages, and that'd be helpful for the team in that way in the early game. Also given him Polearm Mastery, which I think is a waste. If I would redo the prophet, I would replace Polearm Mastery with Rotate, so that he can rotate out of trouble if necessary. Sometimes you get caught by, for example, a frost on hold that jumps into your team and gets engaged with your prophet, and then you can rotate out of problems. Because when your prophet is your prophet, he's just going to hold up the banner and cast Voice of Davkul and stop fighting. So at that point, melee attack is just a waste of stat. But before he becomes a prophet, then it is a reasonable investment. The next thing you will be doing in the early game is hiring cultists, all of them. Get all the cultists you can, but because the probability for a conversion event to fire is directly proportional to the number of cultists that you have in your roster. Even if they are terribly at fighting, just keep them in your reserve and just have them help this event from triggering. The conversion event is the most important event in the early game, and the ideal composition of your team is all cultists and 1 convertible brother, so that when the conversion event happens, this brother gets converted to cultist, and you will have a good brother to add to your team that can actually help with the fighting. If you look at the backgrounds, let's have a look at the backgrounds that are. So this is a list of all the backgrounds. I have it in my Google spreadsheet. The white backgrounds cannot be converted unless they are brain damaged. If you want, in your campaign, you can fish for brain damaged highborns that cannot be converted in any other way. Maybe by hiring the surgeon and getting your really good brothers killed that cannot be converted. I didn't do this in my campaign, and 400 days I didn't hire any non-convertible brothers. The yellow ones are the ones that can be converted if they're done. So if you find sellswords, gladiators, oath takers, retired, these backgrounds, hedge knights, wildmans, hunters for ranged, always check out if they're dumb, and if they're dumb, then you should probably recruit them and see if they're worth anything. In 400 days of campaign, I actually found close to 10 dumb highborns, and I only recruited one of them. All the others were dismissed. There was only one that was good enough to form part of my roster. All the others are lowborns, actually. The best lowborns are the ones that have high melee skill. Cultists will gain extra fatigue, they will gain extra health, they will gain extra defense while they level up, but they don't gain extra ranged or melee skill. So these are the stats that you'll be looking for when you're looking for good brothers. You're looking for stars and high rolls in these skills. Militia and Mantiores are the best. Deserters can also be pretty good if they don't have terrible resolve. Lumberjacks, brawlers, miners, poachers are really good for ranged brothers as well. Thieves can be really good for defensive, or nibble tanks, or maybe for daggering and have a nimble dagger bro. Shepherds can be decent for ranged if you can't find a good poacher. All the green ones. It's what you are going to be searching for in the early game, and hope that you find a good one and add them to your group of cultists and wait for the next conversion event. Conversion event and sacrifice events will fire, and it's not really predictive, so you could have multiple conversion events between sacrifice events. So I would suggest that you always have one convertible brother available in case you get a sacrifice event, a convert event. You will run some risk sometimes, because sometimes the next event can be a sacrifice event, and your brother that you had up for conversion may become really angry and depart from your roster. So the only way that you can deal with this is have happy powder available, or be very close to a tavern and get there before he leaves and get him drunk, so that he changes from his mood from angry to disgruntled. Or alternatively, you can have him so happy before the sacrifice event that he doesn't lower to angry, but he lowers to disgruntled. That's another way to avoid promising brothers from deserting you when you are after a sacrifice. So that's the early game. Find good brothers, convert them, hire cultists, survive with easy contracts, and try and find Alp and Necrovant, doable Alps fights and Necrovant fights, so that you can build happy powder, so that you can have a little bit more flexibility with hiring brothers that are good for conversion. Sacrifice brothers. Which are the best brothers for sacrificing? Well, useless cultists can make very good sacrifice brothers. The sacrifice event will always target 2 brothers, of which you can choose one, from the 4 lowest experienced brothers. So if you have 3 follow bros at level 0, level 1 with 0 XP, then you will always make sure that you sacrifice one of those rather than a useful brother. So always have at least 3 follow bros with 0 experience available for your sacrifice events. So besides useless cultists, the second best background for sacrificing is where is he? Forgot the name. Getting fuck this shit. The indebted. I'm stupid. Okay, so indebted cannot be converted, and they have the advantage that they cannot leave you when they get very, very angry. So after every sacrifice event, you are sure that all your other follow bros, they hang around. If you cannot find any cultists as follow bros and also don't have enough indebted, then the next best thing are highborns that cannot be converted, and the ones that you can use are masons and apprentices. So if you find cheap masons and apprentices, these are also pretty good sacrifice fodder. Why specifically those? Because masons and apprentices don't have their own events, so they don't dilute your event pool. So if you cannot find enough cultist brothers or I forget the name again, or indebted, then you can have temporarily masons or apprentices in your roster as sacrifice brothers. I would stay away from things like monks. Monks have good events, but the actual Davkul events are just much better, and every time a monk throws an event is a delay in your progression in your cult. So don't do that. In the mid game, the best thing you can do is get the recruiter as soon as possible to find more bros. You will do a lot of hire and fire in this part of the game because you want the available brothers in the cities to be refreshed as soon as possible. So you will hire and fire anyone that you can pay for. It really depends on your economy. I usually hire and fire everyone that is 500 crowns or below, but if you have a lot of money, then you can even increase this and hire and fire some more expensive brothers. Also hire and fire all the highborns just to get them out of the way and see them refreshed the next time you arrive to the town. So yeah, that's the mid game. In the end game, you hopefully have your profit. I got mine in day 180, and I got the Davkul helmet and armor at also, let's say, between day 160 and 170. So that went pretty quickly after each other. And at day 180, I had a full cult available for playing. So how do you build your roster to abuse this ability? This game-changing ability of reducing fatigue from all your brothers. Well, the first and most obvious is Berserk. All of your brothers get Berserk. Really, all of your brothers that are going to do damage. So tanks don't get Berserk, obviously, except for this specific tank. That's actually a battle tank. So it got the shield expert and the indomitable from a tank, but also does plenty of attack damage. Actually, pretty good, about 1.6 kills per battle. But basically, all your attack bros, all your bros that do damage will get Berserk. What else do you do with your extra fatigue? There was one YouTuber that recommended adrenaline, so I think that's a really bad idea. I don't recommend that. You want to convert fatigue into damage, and adrenaline is just tricks, and it might be good, but what you really looking for is damage. So the second best thing you can do after Berserk for me is quick hands on all your two-handed brothers. So you want to be able to abuse Berserk, and so if you hit with your hammer and you kill an enemy, you'll get to 7 AP, and you want to be able to change to the pole hammer if there's no other adjacent enemy. And I also give them the Goblin Jagged Pike. I have a special video, one video dedicated to the Goblin Pike, because that allows you to move, smack with your hammer, hopefully kill the enemy. You'll get Berserk, you get to 5 AP, switch to the Goblin Pike, and hit another enemy that is at 2 distance. So that's this combination of weapons makes you get the most out of your AP. So after Berserk and Quick Hands, what is the next thing that you're looking for? That's duelists. You want to build duelists. So every time you find a good duelist weapon, you build a duelist. Duelists, they just do the most damage of all your brothers. They do more damage. Good duelist with a good duelist famed weapon does more damage than two-handers. This bro has kills more than 2 enemies per battle, and he's actually my most my highest kill rate in all my brothers, and his one-handed cleaver isn't even that good. It's this instead of 40 to 60 for military cleaving, that's 50 to 75. Imagine a duelist with an orc one-hander that does extra damage and extra armor penetration. That one is going to be insane. So build duelists and find duelist weapons that are good. The next best thing after duelist are two-handed weapon with AoE. So my next brother after this duelist that does most damage is actually this this great sword wield. Shut up, dog. This great sword wield because the AoE is very, very flexible, and being able to AoE every turn is just adding up damage very, very quickly. So the greatsword is a really, really much more valuable weapon when you have a prophet. So look for famed ones, and they will be much more efficient and do much more damage than you are used to with great swords. Great swords, they don't shine against armored opponents, but if you can hit 2 armored opponents, that makes up for it. The other ones are hammers. Hammers have a really great AoE, so you want to build hammer bros if you can. The next ones, X-bows with the Bardis. The Bardis has a really, really good AoE attack. So both my ex-brothers have a famed 200X, Barbarian X. This one actually, I usually have the Bardis in there. Where is it? Here. So both my brothers have Bardis, a long axe, and the famed Barbarian Axe for maximum damage. Every time you can hit 2 opponents, I will switch to the Bardis. So yeah, these are the weapons that really increase in value when you have more fatigue to spend. Weapons that decrease in value are the two-handed flail. So I built one really in the late game because I found a good flail, but basically they are not very good in this origin. Also maces, the two-handed mace. For me, they are the best two-handed weapons in the game, but they don't gain value in this origin. I just built 2 mace brothers because I found this absolutely amazing extra damage, extra armor penetration mace, and I found actually another one with extra damage and extra armor penetration. So I just built 2 mace brothers, 2-handed mace brothers, because I found amazing famed ones, but actually they're not really helped with the extra fatigue. I don't really often use the stun ability. For me, I prefer the extra damage from the normal attack, and the day's debuff is really good. So that's my recommendation to exploit the extra fatigue is duelists and AoE attacks brothers. and you will have one basically non-playing captain. He's just standing out of range of the enemies, casting his Voice of Davkul every turn, and sometimes recover and just do nothing else. But all the other 11 bros, they will highly profit from the extra fatigue and more than compensate for having a brother that does nothing. So I think that's more or less what I wanted to say. There's one more thing. The first crisis that I got was the Holy War, and I noticed that Davkul events just stopped happening entirely during the Holy War. Not sure if that's a bug, but I had 75 days without events because I ignored the crisis. At the end, I just decided to finish the crisis and help and accelerate its finish. And literally 1 or 2 days after the crisis ended, I got the next Davkul event. So watch out for this. If you are in a crisis and you don't see any Davkul events, then maybe you should concentrate on getting this crisis finished to get back to Davkul events and further develop your cultists. So that's it, really, what I had to say about the cultists. I really enjoyed this. Really interesting origin. Highly recommended. And hopefully the tips that I've just provided you are helpful to you. So thanks a lot for watching this video. Hope you liked it. Enjoy the game and see you later. Bye bye.